What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Infinite Fusion. And today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Infinite Fusion using only Wondertrade Fusion Pokemon only? So it's gonna be interesting. We can only Wondertrade for our Pokemon. Few things first. So obviously we're not gonna Wondertrade for a starter Pokemon, so I decided to go on the Fusion Generator website and then generate myself a random fusion. It's basically the same thing as the Wondertrade. It's just two random Pokemon fused together. So that would be my starter Pokemon. So that's what you're seeing in the background right now. And also, there's going to be an additional rule to make it more interesting. We don't want to do a hardcore Nuzlocke because those are reserved for the end of the week videos. But for Infinite Fusions, we want to try to do what this commenter says. If a Pokemon faints, you have to defuse them. We're not going to do exactly that. We're going to actually pertain to if my Pokemon faints within a gym fight, we will delete them, we'll get rid of them and get a new Pokemon. So this is only a rule when you're fighting a gym leader. When you're outside of the gym fight, when you're in the environment, when you're doing like any other fights, it doesn't count. It has to be a gym fight for my Pokemon to be fainted. So if a Pokemon faints during a gym fight, they are gone, so we're gonna have to retrade them. So I could actually use more Pokemon. I'll tell you why in a little bit, why I can't do every single time a Pokemon faints, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I think that should be the gist of it. We're gonna be playing on modern mode and also the hardest difficulty in the game, and as well we're gonna add no items inside a battle just to make it even more difficult. I mean, that should be all the difficulty rules. We're gonna have a fun rule including that. Just as always, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. Now, to begin off with, we actually get a very interesting Pokemon for our first Pokemon. We had a Doduo and Steelix. We got a Steeduo, which is interesting. It's a decent Pokemon. It's at least fully evolved on one side. You know, we can actually move on in the first part of the game pretty easily. We don't have to worry about fainting, but the thing is, there is so many opportunities for us to faint in the game because there's so many trainers with random Pokemon and random typings. I could search each of them up in a walkthrough, but is that really fun? So we're not going to rely on the fact that each of my Pokemon faints. We have to get a new Pokemon because that'd just be really ridiculous. But from there, once we get all things set, we're going to go into the first gym in the game. We're going to face off against Brock. Now, if we lose against Brock, obviously, we have to restart the challenge. Lucky enough, our Steeduo is able to easily just mudslap down the Shroomy Yard of Brock's, and we're able to knock him out. And then his following Pokemon will be a Stee Jr., which he has his own Steelix. We're able to mudslap him down and then curse up, and then eventually Rock Tomb from my Steeduo will actually knock out the Stee Jr. pretty easily as we beat down Brock and get our very first gym badge and a premium ticket for the Wondertrade. Now, I don't know how this works, but apparently you can just Wondertrade it. This is what we got in the beginning. We got a Smearloom as our first Pokemon with the premium trade, and I was like, I'm not using this thing. This thing is so awful. So I bought myself another Wondertrade ticket, and I got a better Pokemon. We got a Nincool, which is Nincada and Tentacool, so we're going to use that as we're going to go into Mount Moon, clear through it pretty easily, evolve it into, well, it's still a Nincool. But from there, we're also going to go into Cerulean City, where we got another Nincool for another Wondertrade, which is okay. That was completely useless. We're gonna get ourselves a Mason, which is a Duosion, and also Mareep. So that's a nice Pokemon to get from the Wondertrade, opposed to Nincool. We're also gonna keep Wondertrading until we get ourselves a Bellsly, which is a Bellsprout and Bonsly. We're gonna evolve that real quick, which is very nice, and then head into the second gym in the game. I mean, if you guys don't remember, these are traded Pokemon. So unfortunately, sometimes they don't actually listen to me. So it's all downhill from here. So I have to be very careful. We're gonna start the battle off against Misty using my Flaption, which is Flappy and Duosion, against her Glarogue. I'm able to go for a Thunder Wave, and then eventually I'll land a Thunder Wave once my Pokemon starts listening to me, and I'm able to go for a Side Shock and knock out the Glarogue. Her next Pokemon will be a Manrus. I'm hoping to get Thunder Wave off, but my Flaption is just being stubborn, does not want to get it. On the very last turn though, I'm able to break through the confusion, Thunder Wave him, and then unfortunately my Flaption will go down, and it's all left on my Weeping Woodle, which lucky enough I'm able to get a low kick off. I survive one move from it, just barely, and I'm able to, it listens to me 2 turns in a row as I'm able to low kick and knock out the Manrus, as we're able to beat down Misty and get our next gym badge. Unfortunately, we had our first death. We have to get rid of Flaption, which we can go upstairs and get rid of. We get ourselves a Digfist, which is Diglett and Stunfisk. It's going to be interesting to have on our team at least. From there, we're going to move out and face off against the next gym leader in the game. Our Nincool evolves into a Nincruel, and that's about all the changes. We do have an Ammonite and Duocean, but we're not going to use that fusion. We're to start the fight off against Lieutenant Series using my Nincrow, which is able to get a Toxic Spike. I think I misclicked there, but Bubble Beam to 2-shot the nose key as I get paralyzed. I do have speed boost, so it's actually a decent play here. Even though I'm paralyzed, I still get enough speed to outspeed the Fletching Chop. And then from there, once we knock out the Fletching Chop, his next Pokemon will be a Houndblade, which I don't have an issue. I mean, I do have a big issue. I don't do a lot of damage to the Houndblade. It knocks out my Nincrow. I go out to my Weeping Woodle, which is able to low kick into the Houndblade and then knock him out in 2 shots as it goes for a bulk up for some reason. I'm able to knock out the Houndblade, and from there he's going to switch out into his Nose Key. I am trying my best to attack the Nose Key, but it doesn't want to get attacked. Eventually we're able to knock him out. That could have been really bad for us. We're able to, unfortunately, we lose our Nincrow, so we have to go back into Pokemon Center. We actually Wonder Traded for a pretty good Pokemon, so we had 2 really good Pokemon, 2 starter Pokemons, ironically. We got a Charmander. We got a Charmander, so it's Charmander fused with Charmander already, so okay, that looks pretty cool. And then we got a Chick-Chow, which is a Chikorita and Chin-Chow, which is pretty cool. From there, once we get that, we're gonna obviously evolve them. We also get ourselves a Beely from the Wondertrade, just I think it's a regular ticket one. And also from there, we get a Needlebrow, which is Nidoran, and also Kadabra, which is, you know, pretty interesting. We're gonna have that on our team for sure, because easily the best setup mon we have right now. So we're gonna have to take care of that one, as we're gonna make our way into the Rock Tunnel. And as you can see, we are trying to evolve this Charizard into his final form. I don't know how to use Charizard apparently. I'm only using Flamethrower as my only move, as you see. I just stopped playing once I ran out of Flamethrowers. After that, we're gonna go into the Rock Tunnel, clear through the Rock Tunnel, and then move on into Celadon City. Now, lucky enough, this is not an important fight or a gym fight against Giovanni right now, because we lose a lot of Pokemon against him. A lot of the random fights are much harder than the gym fights, as you can see. We're able to beat down Giovanni at least, and then move on and face off against Erica. Erica is the grass type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Victory Woodle, which is finally evolved. I'm able to Rock Slide into the type terror to one-shot it. Her next Pokemon will be a Buttergeist, which U-turns into her Galvantron, which I two-shot. She's ironically gonna heal up, and then I knock him down, and then she switched out for some reason. So her Rock Slide would knock out the Buttergeist. Her next Pokemon will be a Galvantron. I don't want to lose my Victory Woodle, as I'm gonna go out into my Charizard and Flame Burst and knock him out. So Charizard looks pretty cool here. So we don't lose a Pokemon against Erica, but I decided to, you know what, I want to trade Pokemon anyway, so I want to trade away my Meganium turn, and I traded in for a pretty good Pokemon. We traded up into an Electropalm, which is pretty cool, and we also get ourselves in replacement, I think, of my Beely for a Hanzar, which evolves into a Gangzard immediately. So that's an interesting combination. Somehow it works out for us, as we're able to get a really cool Pokemon. This one's gonna really help us out. From there, we're also gonna trade away, I believe we're gonna trade away, we're trading away a Beely and also our Dougfist. Dougfist was cool. I decided to trade him away for a Polyno, which is Dino and Poliwag, and I decided to evolve it into a Politoed. So it's actually pretty cool. We had a Zoelis and Politoed fusion, and as well, we also, it wasn't on screen, I don't know why, I just skipped into Fuchsia City, but we also traded for an Ampharos Larvesta. So we got an Ampvesta, so it's pretty cool. I mean, as you'll see how cool it is. It's very tanky, and it's obviously gonna be bug electric, so we're gonna have that for later as we move into Fuchsia City. And yeah, the trainers in here are kicking my butt, so lucky enough they don't count as the actual gym leaders. So once we get into the actual gym leader, we're gonna face off against Koga. We're gonna start the battle off against Koga using my Charizard, two-shotting into the Zora Nucleus, which is very easy. He sets up Reflect, which could be annoying, but I'm just gonna keep using my special attack. I think I have one physical attacker, which is my Electropalm. I go for 2 Flamethrowers against his Weeflame as well, which knocks him out. And then his next Pokemon will be his Honchvor, which I decided to take a shower in the middle of this fight. So I just came back like 20 minutes later, and then I was like, oh, I'm mid-fight. Anyways, I'm gonna go for Flamethrowers against the Honchvor and then knock him out. His next Pokemon will be his actual Umtera, which is gonna go for a Crunch, and I realized he's not a grass type, he's dark and ground. I decided to switch out into my Ampvesta. which hopefully for a flame body does not work. Cotton guard does not work. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing here. From there, I went out to my Electabomb, which is able to go for a fire punch. I'm trying to burn him so badly. From there, I'm going to go into my Poliwylus, which is able to go for a Hydro Pump and knock out the Umtera, which works out pretty well. We beat down Koga, but unfortunately, my Electabomb is down, so we have to trade it away. We eventually trade it away for another Larvesta. We got a Larva Bat, which is kind of funny. It looks really cool. We're also able to beat down a rival at Silphco and lose a bunch of Pokemon, but they don't count. We also beat down Giovanni, which, you know, I don't think we lost a lot of Pokemon, but that could have been bad either way because our entire team basically went down to our rival. But from there, they don't count as a gym leader. Sabrina counts as a gym leader. We're going to start the battle off against Sabrina using my Gangzar. Gangzar is able to go for Hypnosis. It sets up a light screen, but I'm able to go for Hypnosis off against her. Go out into, finally, my Neokazam. Neokazam is able to go for a Calm in front of him. Get +6 in front of the Sylvotion because I also have Recover, so I don't really mind doing anything. So I'm able to go for +6 and then Psychic to knock out the Sylveotion. Her next Pokemon will be a Mariku. I one-shot with Psychic. Her next Pokemon will be a Drifbro and Psychic to knock that thing out. I don't knock out the Clefix. That thing is so tanky, but a few more Earth Powers. I was getting kind of risky, but I know its entire moveset. I should be fine as I'm able to just Earth Power down the Clefix. And we're eventually able to knock out Sabrina, get the 6th gym badge in the game, and move out. Go out into Cinnabar Island and then still get the questions wrong. I know the answers to the questions. I'm not sure why I'm getting them wrong. From there, once we clear through the puzzles in Cinnabar Island, we're going to face off against Blaine next. Blaine's a 7th gym leader in the game. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Klinkfurig. I'm going to go out into my Amp Corona. So I go for a Quiver Dance in front of the Klinkfurig. It gets burned by Zen headbutting me. And then I go for another Quiver Dance in front of him. As he goes for a full restore, I discharge him. He has a Focus Sash. Hits me pretty hard with Zen Headbutt, but I'm able to go for a Discharge to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Xano, which again lives with 1 HP, but I'm able to take a Shadow Ball pretty easily. Discharge to knock out the Xano. His next Pokemon will be his Allosaur, which I go for a Heat Wave and one-shot. And then his next Pokemon will be a Togenucleus, which I was like, I think it's Flying type, so I go for Discharge, should knock him out. He gets paralyzed and he paralyzes himself, which I don't think it matters too much because I have a bunch of special defense up anyways. Discharge to knock out a Togenucleus as we're able to beat down Blaine, which is pretty easy. Now we're going to move out into obviously Mount Ember, face off against the Zapmo Kuno, which isn't too difficult. We'll clear through him pretty easily, as you see. One thing to note, my Gangzar is actually the most broken Pokemon. Very strong fire moves and also ghost moves to cover itself as well, so it just has amazing power. So it's actually the most fun Pokemon to use to clear out anyone. We're going to face off against the Zapmo Kuno. This doesn't count as a gym fight, so there's no actual pressure, as we're able to beat down the Articuno head and then the Zapdos head, and then the Moltres goes down into my Volcabat, which is able to knock out the Zapmo Kuno pretty easily. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni in probably the scariest fight. I'm not going to lie. I was really worried about how to do this, so we're going to start the battle off against Giovanni. We're using my Amp Corona. Amp Corona was able to go for a Quiver Dance in front of the Kekon. I was hoping for a Flame Body or something. It does not get Flame Body until he uses U-Turn, which is huge. From there, it goes out to his Kukin, which I go for a Bug Buzz and one-shot it, surprisingly enough. The next Pokemon will be the same Zoshin, which is Illusion as a Kekon. I go for a Fiery Dance in front of him, break the Illusion and also his Focus Sash, and then it's going to be forced to use a Heal Up move. I'm going to go for a Fiery Dance once again, get another boost up, so that means I should be able to sweep everything, right? He sends out his Poryalurk, which I'm able to go for a Fiery Dance against him. Survives, which was a bad play by me, but another boost up using Fiery Dance into another Fiery Dance will knock out the Poryalurk. His next Pokemon will be his actual Kekon, which I'm pretty sure Bug Buzz would knock him out. And his final Pokemon will be a Smearguard, which I don't want to risk anything. I go out to my Polygon. I go out for 2 serves to knock out the Smearguard, and we're able to beat down Giovanni without losing a Pokemon. So we end up all 8 gym badges with only 3 deaths. I think that's pretty commendable for my team. Wondertrades only. We're going to face off, you know, obviously there are way more deaths in the game. As you can see, I'm showing this rival battle fight on Route 22. There's a lot of deaths you guys don't see, but these are all the deaths in the gym fights. So it's actually kind of interesting. So from there, we're going to go out into Victory Road. We're going to clear through Victory Road pretty easy. As you can see, my, this is so fun to use. My Gangzar is able to just sweep down everyone, as you can see. And now we're going to move out into the Pokemon League. We're able to get a bunch of items we need, just in case we got to heal up after the fight. After we challenge each Elite Four members. Anyways, we can go into Elite Four itself. Our first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Lorelei. We're going to start the battle off against Lorelei's Paulillion using my Amp Corona. Amp Corona is able to go for a bunch of Quiver Dance. It tried to catch me. It tried to clown me. It tried to clown me using Aqua Jet. I caught it though. It uses Aqua Jet. I survive it though. I'm able to knock him out pretty easily. His next Pokemon will be his King Drio. Now I don't want to employ the Death in the Elite Four. You guys should know there is one trainer in the N, our rival. He's very difficult, so it doesn't make too much sense to have Permadeath on, but I'm still trying to tinker with the rules to make it more balanced and more enjoyable for you guys. You guys should let me know what you guys think of what I should do next to make it, you know, a little more challenging, but not just ridiculous enough. But anyways, we're able to beat down Gyaraku as well. It's gonna actually knock me out, which is unfortunate, but we're going to switch out into my Vokabat, which is able to two-shot him pretty easily. Her next opponent will be her Spirimuku, which goes down to a Air Slash, and then her final opponent will be a Malatino, which I'm able to knock out pretty easily using my Polygon. Polygon's able to just two-shot him, and we end up beating Lorelei. From there, we're going to face off against Bruno next. Bruno is the second Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him. I don't know why I have my Vokabat out, but I do. I'm going to switch out into my Polygon next. Polygon's able to go for a Hydro Pump into the Tyrannoflame. Two-shot him to be exact, as we're able to beat him down, get down to low HP, which is annoying. From there, he's going to switch out to his Armatox. I sack my Polygon, so I get a free switch into my Vokabat. And then I tried every single move in my arsenal. Eventually, something does hit, and Bug Buzz would knock out the Armatops. And then his next opponent will be his Octostar. I go for an Air Slash trying to get crit on him. He knocks me out with an Octazooka. So I decided to go out to my Ampharona. Ampharona's able to just knock him out with 2 discharge. His next opponent will be his Probodon, which I go out into, well, I sack my Ampharona, and then I switch out into my Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is able to two-shot into the Probodon using Earth Power, and it worked out pretty well. His next opponent will be his Mirror, which I'm able to go for an Earth Power, does not do a lot. Yes, he knocks out my Nidoqueen. I go out into, wow, that's just a bad play. I go out to my Gengar, which goes down in 1 shot, and his final Pokemon on my team is going to be this Charizard. But this Charizard works out. Flamethrower to knock out this Marowak, and then the next Pokemon will be his Cray-Ray, which I survived. Flamethrower, I mean, doesn't do a lot of damage, but his Thunderbolt, I survived pretty well. Heat Wave trying to get a burn or something. Thunderbolt, I survived 1 more. I should be fine as I'm able to knock him down to low HP with a Heat Wave, and then he goes for a Giga Drain out of every move. So I'm able to get a free Flamethrower off in Blaze mode to knock him out as we're able to beat down Bruno with our last Pokemon. So obviously Permadeath would be pretty bad if I had that. But from there, we're going to face off against Agatha next. Agatha's the 3rd Elite Four member in the game. We're trying to get this Vokabat, trying to get set up. Let's do something. It's not working out for us. We go down to the Clefairy, but I go out into my Charizard to Flamethrower to knock out the Clefairy, which is really nice. From there, she's going to switch out to her Crowrose, and I did not know the moveset of this thing at all, because I've always beaten it in 1 shot. I go out to my Nidoqueen, which has Psychic to knock out the Crowrose. Her next opponent will be a Dust Plume, which I go for a Calm Mind into a Psychic to knock out. And their next opponent will be a Chatterbok, which I'm going to do 1 shot as well. The next opponent after that will be Umzing, which I don't really have an answer for. I go out to my Gangzar. Gangzar is able to 2-shot into him. And from there, she's going to switch out into her Mo, which is able to force me out into my Nidoqueen. And Nidoqueen is able to get a Psychic off. Doesn't knock him out though. It's unfortunate. My Ampharon is able to finish the battle off against Agatha. From there, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member and the 4th Elite Four member. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Toga Flame, which I go out to my Gangzar. I missed the Hypnosis, and then he's going to U-turn into his Dark Knight, and for some reason, I kept using a non-very effective moves against him. I go out to my Charizard, Flamethrower. I was like, oh, yeah, that was a bad idea. So Charizard goes down. And then from there, I'm going to go into my Vokabat. Vokabat's able to go for 2 Quiver Dance in front of him. Fire Blast me, which is fine. I go for a Bug Buzz, 1-shots him, which is really nice. And from there, he's going to switch out into his Shandamori. And I'm like, finally, Vokabat will get a turn to actually sweep down something. Air Slash in the Shandamori. It lives, but then Fire Blast me back. I survive it easily, but it burns me, and that should be the end of my Vokabat, which is so unfortunate. Bug Buzz into an Air Slash would knock out the Shandamori, and it knocks out my Vokabat as well with the burn. I'm going to switch out into my Ampharona, which is the best Pokemon because it's so tanky, as you can see, and also just gets a bunch of boost up because it's awkward typing of Bug and Electric. So I'm just able to discharge the Toga Flame and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Septidactyl, which is always looking cool. Bug Buzz to knock him out, and then his next Pokemon will be a Dewbat, 1-shot him, and also the Age Immense. It's just so easy out here for Ampharona. From there, we can move out and face off against a rival, and of course, guess who stops me from sweeping the entire Elite Four without blacking out? My first blackout is our rival, and oh my god, I just couldn't stop the Array. It just cooks me the entire time. I just couldn't stop him. Array is the most broken Pokemon in the game. But from there, we're going to retry it against our rival, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Gangzar. Gangzar is able to knock out the Ninja, which is pretty easily. From there, he's going to be forced out into his Ryurion, which once this thing's out, this is a free setup. So I decided to go into anyone that I wants to set up with. I decided the only one that makes sense is my Ampharona, which has been carrying me. It actually gained so many levels at level 80 already. I'm able to get like +6 or something against the Ryurion. It gets me down to low HP though, as I'm able to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be an Array, which he does have extreme speed and probably would have knocked me out, but Bug Buzz, he lets me just knock him out because he doesn't want to use extreme speed. Bug Buzz to knock out the Array. His next Pokemon will be his Shandaval, which I knock out in one shot. His Torterrion, which looks like Torterrion, which is like a mixture of all three, but I believe this is Empoleon and also Torterra. I think that's the fusion that looks like it makes the most sense. But we're able to one-shot that thing. Haxman's goes down as well, as we're able to beat down a rival, and we end Pokemon Infinite Fusion Wondertrade only fusion challenge. So it's actually a pretty interesting challenge. I think this is actually the most fun I had on Infinite Fusion to date. I think the use of a lot of different Pokemon was actually pretty fun, even though I use a lot of repeat Pokemon. Like I used 3 Charizards, I used 2 Volcaronas. I think it's still pretty fun to use. I should really reinstall the game so the sprite pack works, but I'll do that next week. I'll do that next week for you guys. But I think this is probably the most fun I've done. You guys should try it out yourself. Try to employ the rule set as well. Try to, like, I don't know, if your Pokemon dies, it perma-dies in gym fights only. That's pretty fun. But anyways, that'll be my time for today. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.